Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Do you want to know how to win free records and gear and CDs and all kinds of cool stuff? Stay tuned to the end of the show and I will tell you how you can do just that. But today I'm embarking on an adventure, a little bit of a scary one. We are going to be attempting to correct the speed issues on the Glenburn record changer. And it's been a problem since I've got it. It's very common on these BSR type changers. And you can't just adjust a motor speed. We're going to have to make a fairly major modification under the hood. I've recently been encouraged to try it by a friend of mine. So we're just going to go for it, you guys. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I'm going to attempt it. Anyway, it should be interesting. And again, stay tuned to the end to find out how you can win some free stuff. But let's get into it.
Welcome to Record-ology.
Okay, I'm going to try to be brave and get through this. Some of you may be saying that's nothing, that's not even that big of a deal, but if I screw this up, I could cause it to play slow for the rest of its life. I guess I could reverse that in a way, but I don't want to do that. I want to get the speed accurate. These things, whether it's the BSRs or the Glenburns, kind of all changers in general with these AC motors and idler wheels, are just known to run a little bit fast. And there's, contention on why that is, but they just run a little bit fast. This one is fast enough that it's noticeably, audibly fast, and I just can't listen to music when the pitch is that far off. So what we're going to do is there is a way that theoretically and in practice, according to some people, works to fix the speed, and I've got all the tools to do it. And whether or not I have the know-how, we'll find out, or the skill. But the first thing I want to do is show you what I mean by the speed. So I've got a strobe disc. Now this show is going to require me to go back and forth quite a bit in terms of shutting off either the ring light that I'll be using or the windows, closing all the blinds. Because in order to see the strobe properly, you need a light that is powered off the same power supply as the record player itself, which means I got to kill all the windows by closing the blinds. And then I need to turn on this and then back and forth. So we'll be doing a little bit of back and forth. But first, I just want to demonstrate to you what I mean by the speed being too fast. This is a fantastic changer. It's 4 speeds. So I got 78, 45, 33, and 16. So this will be good for playing Seebergs. By the way, if you like Seeberg records, stay tuned to the channel. I've got something very cool, and it's not what you think, coming in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. It's fully automatic. It's a changer. It's a great setup. This is everything you need in one package, except you do need a preamp for these. It doesn't have a built-in one. Heavy metal plinth on, these shock springs. This has the cheaper plastic case, but no big deal. But it's a great unit, and it's a mechanical beast. It's sort of the poor man's version of the Dual, and it should work really good for us. But I need to get the speed sorted. So let me go ahead and show you how far off the speed is. We'll be looking at these 3 rings right here. I'm going to demonstrate for 78, 33, and 45. We'll probably start with 33, and once we decide or not that I can or cannot do this, then we'll move on to the 45 and maybe the 78. But this will be 33, this will be 45, and that'll be 78. Okay, so we're going to be looking on this line to begin with. So let's go ahead and spin up the turntable itself. Now you're going to notice that those lines, again on this row right here, right there, that first row of the inner 3, is marching fairly significantly to the left. That means that it is indeed fast. So let's go ahead and look at 45, which will be the next row up. That'll be that row right there. It's also significantly fast. And 78 will be the innermost row. Same thing. In fact, that's probably the fastest of all. It's probably at least 80 RPMs. This might be good for playing diamond discs on, actually. But anyway, I don't like it like that. I can't listen to music that's that fast. Back to 33 here. So what we need to do is solve this problem. And how would we go about doing that? Here's where it gets sketchy. Let's check it out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to remove the strobe disc. And again, this is an idler wheel or rim drive unit. And if you haven't seen one of those before, you're about to. What I'm going to do next is remove the platter. And like a lot of modern all-in-ones and suitcase players, there's a little clip down here, in this case in the form of a wire ring, that keeps this from coming off. So in order to work on it, and everything we need is underneath this, we need to open this guy up by simply popping off that ring. It's a lot easier if you just remove this stacker spindle. And it sits in this little inset right down here. And it is tricky to get off, but not impossible. So there is the little ring. And now we can take this off with ease. So all we're going to do is lift straight up. Need to remove the little rubber grommet. I always forget that there's two, and now we can lift it up relatively easy. By the way, this is the entry-level Glenburn with the plastic platter. The higher end one has the metal. Okay, so everything we need is in here at this point. So yeah, let me show you exactly what we're dealing with. So the way these changers work is this wheel right here, this rubber wheel, is sort of like a pinch roller in a tape deck. It is passive. There's no power connected to it whatsoever. All it does is create tension, or a surface adhesion actually. And the reason why it does that is it needs to convey or transfer power from the motor to the platter. And the way it does it is essentially by connecting the capstan or the drive shaft to the platter. Now, if you remember, I'm pretty zoomed in, so I don't know if I can get this in the shot. Remember how the platter has this plastic rim? That plastic rim sits right down here between this and the wheel itself. So what happens is when you start the record player, it basically moves this wheel into contact with this drive shaft and the outside edge of that platter. And you'll notice that the drive shaft itself has 4 steps, and those 4 steps correspond to, guess what, the 4 speeds of the record player that we said before, 78, 45, 33, and 16. So each step needs to be dealt with. And how do we deal with it? This is where it gets scary. We have to file down the surface, each individual surface of the drive shaft where it makes contact, because the geometry, the diameter of each of those steps correlates to the speed. And the thicker or the wider that those steps are will be the faster that this will rotate at each speed. So the narrower, by shaving it down, will make it slower. And so that's what we're going to try and do. Ever so slightly and ever so gently, we're going to do that. Now you may be saying to yourself, why don't you just grind down the rubber from here? And that sounds like, and a lot of people mistakenly think that's how you do it. It doesn't work that way, because the same velocity where this is touching the drive shaft will be transmitted 1-to-1 with no change to where it touches the platter, and therefore the speed. So whether or not this thing, grows or shrinks, it's still going to be a 1-to-1 ratio of where it gets the speed and where it transfers it to. So the only way that we can do it is by shaving down these individual steps, as you can see right there. So that's what we're going to try and do. And I'm nervous as heck. Now, I'm going to use the actual motor rotating to help me with that grinding. Otherwise, it would be nearly impossible to avoid flat spots. So my plan is to basically get it spinning. And again, it won't really look any different to you guys when it's spinning. And then I'm just going to hold the emery board, this like nail file, at individual positions. And then we're going to have to do it for a few seconds and then check the speed. And we're going to have to go back. That's where the back and forth comes in. So let me get set up for that, and we'll give it a shot. I ended up deciding it's actually a pretty good shot as it is. Okay, so even though it may not look like it, that drive shaft is moving. It is rotating. And I want to show you what positions it goes into for the various speeds. So let's start with 78. So at 78, it's on the largest possible. And when I go down to 45, it's the next step up. When I go to 33, it's that second one down. And you guessed it, 16 RPM is the very, very top. So I'm going to start with the 33 RPM right there. And we're going to let the wheel spin. It shouldn't matter. I'm going to take my emery board and cross my fingers and try to be as precise as possible here. Let's see what happens. Very nervous about this. I can see the color changing, so I think I'm making a change. And actually, let's go ahead and back that wheel off, putting it into a neutral spot. See the color being different? I hope I know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the platter back on. We don't need to worry about the clip for now. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy back on, and that's 33 RPM. Wait, I better stop this for a second because we need to put our spindle back on there in order to support the platter, or in order to support the strobe disc. So let's go ahead and put our strobe disc on. Fingers crossed. All right, 33 RPM. Engine start, and we're looking, don't drop the needle, okay? We are looking right there on that line. It looks better. I mean, it is not perfect, but it's going in the right direction. Because if I put it to 45, look at the 45 speed. See how much faster that's going compared to 33? Oops, 33. So it's going to take some more grinding, no big deal. So I'm going to stop this, move this back home. Because this idler drive doesn't have a brake, it'll sit there and spin for a minute once you hit stop. So you can slow it down with your hand is what I'm trying to say. So, all right, I'm going to do this again. And I guess we'll just proceed since I've got the camera set up and we're in position. So here I go. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and put this thing's got kind of a long piece down here because it's, as you can see, the position of the platter dictates the position of the tone arm and the automatic changer features. So let's go ahead and put this guy back on. And once I get my fingers on the disc, strobe disc, we'll put that on. I don't have the single, like I do on my Technics, I don't have the single spindle. All I have is this small, tall stacker spindle. Stacker spindle. Okay. And start again. And what do we got now? So again, looking right there, I feel like we're really getting close. So I'm going to keep working on this back and forth until I get it locked in, and we'll see what we come up with. I think we have succeeded. This is incredible, you guys. Look at that. It is pretty dang close. In fact, I think we went a hair too far. We went a hair too far, but it is dang close. Okay, now I'm going to flip it to 45. Oops, to 45 there, the middle row, and I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so I have gone back and forth maybe about 4 or 5 times at the 45 RPM. It seems to need more of an adjustment than the 33 did. So let's see where we're at right now. Again, it'll be this inner band. It won't get up to the proper speed until it lets go of the tone arm. And it is very close. Still a tad bit fast, but I'm probably going to call that a day because I went a little too far on the 33 and it's a tad bit slow. So there's the risk See if I go to 33. See how it's marching a little to the right? That indicates it's a hair fast, but that's an inaudible amount. And actually, this 45 at this point is probably inaudible or very nearly so. I'm not going to deal with the 78 today because the 78 RPM stop on that shaft is a roll of coil. It's not a solid metal surface. So I don't feel as comfortable shaving down that roll of coil as I do the other steps. But we have now demonstrated that, yes, indeed, we can fix the speed if it's too fast by shaving down those posts. Again, 45 is looking pretty dang good. 33, a lot better. It's a lot better. I would have just held up a little bit and not done that last probably 5 or 6 seconds. It probably would have been exactly perfect. But an improvement. It's a lot closer to accurate than it was. So if you want to do this, I would say proceed cautiously. Take your time. Be patient. Use just a regular nail file. This one has a pretty aggressive texture to it, so give yourself some time. Check it often. The more you check it, the more likely you're going to nail it right when it's at the perfect spot instead of going too far. I was in a little bit of a rush, so I probably should have slowed down and checked it more often. That being said, it worked. And if we wanted to keep fiddling with it, I can actually add material back onto those steps to slow it down. And that's easier than taking off material, and that's a show for another day. So if you want to get your changer speed accurate, this is one way to do it. We've proven it here today. I'm glad we tried it. I'm glad it's more accurate. And yeah, let me know down in the comments below if you have any other tips or tricks. These have AC motors. They don't have DC motors. So there is no motor speed adjustment. There is no variable pot or anything to adjust it in an easy fashion like that. Unfortunately, we are limited by the speed, which is, it checks itself. Its speed consistency is maintained through basic sampling of the AC, and it keeps an accurate speed for whatever it's set at, and now it's set at a much better position. So that's going to do it for now. I thought this was kind of fun. This is an interesting project, something I'd been toying with in the back of my head for some time, and thanks to you guys, finally got brave enough to try it. All right, my friends, and that is going to do it for today. So, how do you win free records and some gear? Well, tomorrow, as of the filming of this, October 31st, 2022, we are going to be going live at some point in the day. We're not disclosing the exact time. We are going to be going live and doing a giveaway, several of them actually. And how do you win? Well, you have to tune into the live to find out. In the live, we're going to be having some contests, doing multiple giveaways of records, CDs, some accessories and things that you're not going to want to miss. And I would just love to hang out with you on Halloween. If you happen to be watching this video after that date, don't worry. If you are subscribed, you hit the bell notification, select all, you can be notified of our lives. And we do giveaways throughout the year, everything from turntables to records and everything in between. But my friends, that is going to do it for today. So happy record hunting. We'll see you next time. Hey, everybody. Really?
I'm sorry. That was weird.
Outtake reel. What's weird?
That sound you made.
Okay, stop. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Record-ology.